Hi guys, so in this video I want to talk to you about fat loss. I posted in the group the other day about if anyone has any questions about fat loss or if anybody wants to know more, and a really big proportion of you answered that and said that you're really interested. And I understand that this is something that's really important to a lot of women after giving birth, and to a lot of you. So I really want to give you guys everything that you need, all the information that you need, all the support that you need. Unfortunately, I'm in my final trimester of my second pregnancy, and I don't have the bandwidth to create like a full course or a full kind of part of the postpartum program right now, but it is in the pipeline. It is something that I want to bring to you next year once I've had the baby. But for the meantime, let's start with this. I'll start by answering some questions, or start by introducing the topic to you guys, and we'll start having a conversation, and we'll figure it out as we go along. What I want to say here though is that it's really important that you watch these videos, or that you listen to these videos. Grab some earphones, go for a 20-minute walk, half an hour walk, and listen to what I have to say, because this is really crucial information. And it, like a lot of the time, what I find is people ask me for the information, and then when I make the video, they say they don't have the time to watch the video, or they don't have time to listen to the video. I can't put a chip in your brain and just transfer the information. This is going to take, there is a learning curve involved with this topic. You do need to invest some time into learning and understanding exactly what you need to be doing, what you need to be investing your time in, and what is a waste of time. It's really important to do that, and there's no way around it. So please watch these videos. Today's video is kind of an overall introduction to the topic. I've got 8 topics that I'll write up above that I want to cover and give you the basis, what you need to know about fat loss, and the things that I'm seeing come up over and over again with you guys. Feel free to please listen to the video, as I said before, and then feel free to write any comments or questions in the comments below, and I will make another video answering those questions, and maybe shorter videos introducing smaller topics. Okay, so first topic, calorie deficit. You guys may have heard me say this a lot online, but the one thing that you need in order to elicit fat loss is to be in a calorie deficit. That means if you're burning 2,000 calories a day, you need to be consuming fewer calories than 2,000 calories a day in order to use to burn fat. That is simple thermodynamics. There's no way around it. I know there's so much pseudoscience on the internet, and there's so many people trying to tell you that it's something else, that it's sugar, or that it's carbs, or that it's hormones, or that it's all kinds of things. But at the end of the day, this is simple thermodynamics. We know this. This is science. This is 100% not questionable. You need to be consuming fewer calories than you are expending. Now, that obviously how you do that is the big thing. Is like how we make that happen. How we know we're in a calorie deficit, how we then actually implement it, and I'm going to go through some of those things in this video. But at the end of the day, that's what has to happen. That is the only thing that has to happen in order for you to lose weight. Just some really basics about what calories are, and what it means is that a calorie is just a unit of measurement, the same as a kilometer, the same as a kilogram. It's the amount of energy that it takes to heat up 1 cubic centimeter of water by 1 degree centigrade, something like that. It's a very precise unit of energy, and so you use energy through your daily tasks. The vast majority of your energy is used up from just you just your metabolism, just you breathing, your heart pumping. So most of you will have a basic metabolic rate of around 1,300, 1,400 calories a day just by existing, just pure like staying alive. If you're not moving, if you're not eating, none of that, you're going to need 1,300, 1,400 calories a day just to survive. So first things first, we want to make sure we're never below that number. You never want to be eating less than that. That's a really, really, really strict rule. But we'll come back to how many calories you need to lose weight soon. Then we add to that the number of calories that you burn through digestion, the number of calories you burn through movement, just like moving about your house, and then exercise obviously adds a calorie burn onto that as well, and breastfeeding adds calories onto that too. Okay, so it could be how many calories you need to maintain your weight is it can range massively. Okay, but the important thing is going to be to be getting into is consuming fewer calories than however many calories you burn, which is going to be a very individual number. Okay, so moving on to point number 2. The biggest mistake that I see people make is that they ask the wrong question in the beginning. They say, how many calories do I need to lose weight? Right? Or normally what goes through people's mind is, okay, I want to lose X number of kilos or X number of pounds in the next 3 months or in the next year. And therefore, how many calories do I need in order to achieve that goal, right? And that's a really, really, really big mistake right there, right off the bat, right? Because then let's say you put your numbers into MyFitnessPal or into a calorie calculator, and it calculates that you need to be in this number of deficit, you need to be in this number of calories. It's just an estimate, but it will give you a really, really low number, and then people feel like that is the number, that is like 1,200 calories or 1,500 calories, whatever it is. Say that's the number I have to hit every single day now for 3 months. Otherwise I'm not going to lose weight. And that is a really, really, really big mistake, and it's backwards thinking. So I'm going to tell you what you actually need to do, and everyone skips this step, and I'm telling you, you want to not skip this step. This is really important. You don't want to ask how many calories you need to lose weight. You want to be asking, how many calories do I need to maintain my current weight, right? And then you need to figure that out using an online calculator, using MyFitnessPal, whatever. Get a ballpark figure that involves your energy levels, that involves your weight, your height, your gender, that gives you a basic idea of how many calories you need to maintain your current weight. Let's say it's 2,000 calories, just because that's easy to stick to, right? By the way, if you're breastfeeding, I'll talk more about breastfeeding in a minute, but if you're breastfeeding, you're going to need to add about like 300 to 500 calories onto whatever total you get from MyFitnessPal or whatever it is. Once you know, okay, it's just a starting point as well. It's just an estimate. It's never going to be 100% accurate. Once you've got that, okay, 2,000 calories, that's how many calories I need to maintain my current weight. Anything below that is a calorie deficit. Anything below that, you're going to lose weight. The bigger the deficit, the faster you're going to lose weight. But there's a really big trade-off here, because yes, the faster you're going to lose weight, but at the same time, the harder it's going to be to do. Okay, so the bigger the deficit is, the harder it is, but the weight's going to come off faster. The smaller the deficit, the easier it's going to be to maintain, but the slower you're going to lose weight. So there's a trade-off here. There's no right or wrong, there's no good or bad. It's just a trade-off, and you have to understand that it is a trade-off. You cannot slash your calories to 1,200 calories and expect it to just be plain sailing, because it's going to be really, really fucking hard. Eating 1,200 calories a day is like starvation calories. It's going to be miserable. You're not going to be able to do that for any sustained period of time. So if you manage to do it for 3 months, you'll probably lose a shit ton of weight, but you have to actually manage to do it in the first place. Okay, so that's the biggest mistake. So what you want to do instead is figure out your maintenance calories and then aim to eat lower calories than that. You want to be in you want to start with a gentle deficit. So let's say you need 2,000, you've estimated you need around 2,000 calories a day to maintain your weight. Start with 1,800 calories. Start with a very gentle deficit and then work backwards. Another big mistake people make is they think that number is then, they have to eat the same number of calories every single day for the rest of their life. And that's a really, really, really big error. That gives you a starting point. But if you can eat fewer calories on some days, then that's going to add towards your weight loss. But then if you need to eat more calories on other days in order to just enjoy life, to just have a little bit of a break, to go and celebrate your sister's birthday, you need to do that, okay? So let's take a week, for example, and you're aiming to eat 1,800 calories, and you've got a couple of days where you manage to eat 1,500 calories, so that dips you more into that calorie deficit. And then you have your sister's birthday come up, and you eat 2,200 calories, right? You haven't ruined everything. You've just eaten 200 calories above maintenance. Your overall calorie total you've got to think about the week and the month and the year. So your overall calories that you need for a week is 1,400 calories. Sorry, 14,000 calories, right? That's your maintenance calories for the week. So every time you eat less than 2,000 calories, you go into a deficit. And every time you eat more than 2,000 calories, you go out of the deficit. It's about what you eat over the week. So if over the week you eat 12,000 calories or 10,000 calories, you're going to be in a deficit and you're going to lose weight. So don't get too stuck on one specific number. You don't have to eat the same number of calories every single day. You can adjust it. And that's a really important thing to remember. Dig into that deficit more when you can, and then when you can't, you allow yourself to be out of it. Okay. How do you do that in practice? I don't have enough time to go through all of this in this video, but I just want to give you a little idea, because most people are really against the idea of calorie tracking. They're against the idea of calorie counting, but there is no way for you to know what you're eating if you're not at least tracking for some of the time. So what I tell people is that there's a really big learning curve in the beginning. It takes some learning and it takes some figuring this out in the beginning, and you have to be ready for that learning curve. You have to be ready to invest some time and invest some energy into this, because it's not going to come naturally. Like all the intuitive eating stuff, it's not going to just happen by accident. You're not going to accidentally fall into a deficit, because we all are kind of programmed to eat at least maintenance, if not a little bit more. And it's very hard to get into a calorie deficit. So in the beginning, what I recommend you do is that you count your calories. You use a tracker like MyFitnessPal, and you count everything that you eat. But that's obviously not a long-term strategy. You need to figure out something, especially as mums with young children. We're really, really busy. We're not going to be able to do that for a long period of time. So you have to automate it. And the way that I get people to automate it, at least in the beginning, again, this has to suit you, but what I use in the beginning is to get people to use anchor points. Breakfast, lunch, dinner with a snack in between. And you can adjust that if you want less meals, fewer meals. If you want more meals, you can adjust that. It doesn't have to be 4 meals a day, but it's a good starting point for most people. And to start trying to hit the same anchor points every day. So say like 8 o'clock breakfast, 12 o'clock lunch, and 7 o'clock dinner, right? Again, these are completely adjustable to your lifestyle, but trying to hit these anchor points every single day and trying to get into a rhythm. And then coming up with meals, 3 or 4 meals that you eat over and over and over again. So for breakfast, it might be a fruit smoothie, eggs on toast, porridge and yogurt, and I don't know, like something else, right? And all you have to do is you have to write down, I've got a worksheet that you can use as well. You count up the calories and you write down the calories that's in those meals. So you take your fruit shake, you know exactly, you weigh what's in it, You know exactly how many calories is in everything. And then you know you've got a 450 calorie shake, right? So whenever you have that shake, and I have the exact same thing every single morning because I can't be bothered to come up with new ideas. You have that, I know every single morning that my shake has 450 calories in it. I also know how much fat and how much protein is in it and whatever, but that's too much for this video. First of all, starting with the calories, because every day, if you have to make it up from scratch and put the calories in manually into MyFitnessPal, you're going to go bonkers. It's boring, and I know it's not a long-term strategy. It is what you need to do in the beginning, but it's not a long-term strategy. Long-term strategy, you need to automate the shit out of everything, because it's not like, you don't want to have to think about it. You don't want to have to use brain power about it. So you know you've got 3 or 4 breakfasts that you just rotate, or that you eat just one of them all the time if you're like me. You've got your lunch and you've got your dinner. You've got your 4 lunches, your 4 dinners, and you can rotate them, but you know exactly what's in each of them. So you don't have to make it all up from scratch. And then you get to the end of the day, you've had 1,700 calories if you add those different meals up. Okay, and then if you have days where you can shave a few calories off here and there and get down to 1,500 calories, wicked. That's going to add towards your weight loss target. But you don't have to do it every day. If you've got a busy day and you just need to get shit done, then you can just automate it. Okay. Really quickly, again, that could be an entire video on its own. That's an entire process I take my clients through on its own, but it's just to give you an idea of what possible topics we can be discussing and the sorts of things you need to do. So breastfeeding and its implications. I've got an entire video on breastfeeding and calories. Basically, your breastfeeding is an extremely expensive, metabolically expensive process. Lactation is an expensive process. You need the raw materials, you need the energy to make the milk. It costs us something like 500 calories a day. So if you typically burn 2,000 calories a day, now you're burning 2,500 calories a day, right? You want to be in a calorie deficit. That 1,800 calories that's no longer a 200 calorie deficit. That's no longer a gentle deficit. That's now a 700 calorie deficit, and that's massive, right? So your new deficit might be 2,300 calories, right? And it is possible to then lose weight while breastfeeding while doing that. Few things to keep in mind. What's in my longer video on breastfeeding is that, number one, the size of your baby and whether you're exclusively breastfeeding is also going to affect your calorie expenditure. If your baby is 3 months old, if your baby's a week old and exclusively breastfed, they're going to be drinking less milk. You're going to be making less milk, a hell of a lot less milk, than if you're 6 months postpartum, your baby's 6 months old. That's a much bigger baby, and it's exclusively breastfed. Whereas if you're breastfeeding when your baby is 1 year old and you're only doing 1 feed a day, that's significantly less milk. So calorie expenditure is going to be hugely different during this time. We say 500 calories, but it could be 300 calories, it could be 200 calories, it could be 400 calories. Like, it could range so much depending on the size of your baby and how much you're breastfeeding. Final thing I want to say about breastfeeding is that there are those solid numbers, but something just anecdotally that I tend to see is that lots of women find that when they cut their calories even just very slightly, they find that they drop in their breast milk production. That might not matter to you. You might be happy to supplement with formula, but if you're not happy to supplement with formula, it's important for you to have enough exclusively breastfeed, then for some women that can be problematic. Some women can't get into a deficit. They need to be eating kind of a little bit too much, and it's because their body needs there to be, like pregnancy, postpartum, we need there to be a little bit more fat than is fashionable in order to support pregnancy, in order to support breastfeeding. So breastfeeding, it might be the right time to do it once breastfeeding's established. It might not be the right time for you to start trying to focus on fat loss. It's really going to be an individual thing, and it's going to affect different women differently. Number 5, how exercise fits in. I'm going to try and get through these last few points really quickly. Exercise adds to your calorie total. So if you start walking, if you start running, if you start doing aerobic exercise, you're going to see a calorie burn. And so that adds to, if you're burning 2,000 calories a day and then you burn another 1,000, so we're talking about 14,000 calories over the week. And then you add accumulatively another 1,000 calories to that through aerobic exercise or through any kind of exercise and activity, that's going to bump you up to 15,000 calories a week that you're burning, right? So then it can help you get, by bumping up the calorie burn, it can help you lose weight faster. However, women tend to over-rely on exercise and overestimate how many calories are burned through exercise. It does contribute, it is significant, it is relevant, but it's probably way less than you think it is. And just adding exercise alone isn't usually enough to get you into that calorie deficit, okay? But the best strategy is to add it, is that you're at 2,000 calories a day, add a bit of exercise and activity, and take away a little bit of calories going in. The other thing I want to say about exercise is it's not just about calories burned. Exercise is also extremely good for your health, extremely good for your mental health, extremely good for all of your physical body. And when those things run better, then it sets the groundwork for losing weight better. If you are more active, you're more, it does everything, like it balances hormones and it balances blood sugar levels and all of that stuff, improves digestion. And if you're working towards strength goals, if you're strengthening your body, it's also going to help you reduce pain and feel stronger in your daily life. You're going to be able to do more things. You're going to have less injuries. And all of these things help make it easier to lose weight, even though it's not, the direct contribution to calories burned is less than you might think. So that's a really important thing to say around exercise, is don't rely on exercise alone. It's part of the picture, but you should be exercising for health reasons and as a supplement to your fat loss goals. It shouldn't be the be all and end all of fat loss. You shouldn't be trying to burn calories. Like that's not a very efficient way of doing it. Again, I could make an entire video on this. Okay, number 6, what about hormones? I'm going to make this really, really, really brief. There's lots of talk and lots of pseudoscience about hormones. And I don't always know what people mean when they say to me or when they ask me questions about hormones. So if you have any specific questions about that, please let me know. But ultimately, hormones govern every single process in your entire body throughout your entire life. Hormones are involved in the whole process. So there's no, it's not like all of the stuff that you see online that's like, eat this to balance your hormones. Like, which hormones? What are you talking about? Like, it's all pseudoscience, right? So that's basically what I want to say about hormones. Stop worrying about hormones. Stop worrying about metabolism. Like, these are like buzzwords that are thrown around, and it's not what you need to focus on. You need to be focusing on the calorie deficit. And if you have hormonal issues, you should be dealing with that through a doctor. And a lot more to say on this topic, but ultimately, don't get drawn in by the pseudoscience, okay? Number 7, what about sugar, carbs, all of that stuff? Yes, it contributes. Yes, it's important to not eat too much sugar, but you don't need to cut it out completely. Like, it's not that the tiniest amounts of sugar is going to cause you to not be able to lose weight. Sugar in and of itself isn't causing you to lose weight. It isn't causing you to not lose weight. The fact that you have some sugar in your diet is the fact that you're not in a calorie deficit, okay? If you eat, just to put this a different way and to put some numbers to it, let's take our 2,000 calories a day. Let's say you eat 2,000 calories a day and you eat no sugar, no carbs, no whatever. and you eat 2,000 calories a day, you eat your maintenance calories, you are not going to lose weight. Let's say now person B eats 1,800 calories a day and includes some sugar in their diet, they are going to lose weight, right? So ultimately, weight loss isn't about sugar, right? Making sure that you're not eating too much sugar is important for health reasons, and it's important if you're eating, really sugary meals. Yes, there can be like the crash afterwards and all of that stuff. Like, it is important to manage how much sugar that you're eating, but there's nothing wrong with eating. If you eat a cookie, there's like 250 calories. You can fit that into your calorie total for the day and for the week, and you can be in a calorie deficit and you can lose weight, and it's not going to make any difference, and it's not going to make you less healthy. And that brings me on to like my final point, number 8, and then I'm going to wrap this video up, is that another really big mistake I see people make, I see women make in particular, is cutting things out, cutting out carbs, cutting out sugar. Like, I'm not having any of it. You don't have to do that. And I understand that it can be easier sometimes to cut it out than to have it in moderation. But something I really, really, really want to get across is that you can have those things in moderation, but you do need to be mindful of how much you're having and how many calories it's adding to your daily total. But sometimes cutting it out can hold us back in the long run, because if you're like, oh, I can't eat any sugar, I'm not eating any sugar, I'm not eating any gluten, I'm not eating any carbs, right? And you manage to do that for 2 weeks, or let's say 2 months, and then you're at a birthday party and there's a really amazing brownie birthday cake and you're starving and you eat a slice of it, right? That's it. Like, oh no, now I've like ruined it. And people tend to go back to what they were doing before because they've ruined it, and they're in that all or nothing space. And now they can eat sugar, and before they couldn't. So they eat sugar, or they eat sugary things or processed things several times a day, as opposed to just being like, okay, I'm going to have a serving of this. Let's say it's 500 calories. Fine. Like, I'm just going to add it to my total. It's just what it is. Let's say I go over my calories for today. Went over my calories for today. Just carry on tomorrow. Okay? So it's really important. Again, I could make an entire video on all or nothing thinking, on this dichotomous thinking, but it can be a really tempting thing to cut something out or to take it out of your diet completely. And doing things in moderation is much harder sometimes, but really, 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 really important for your long-term success. So I'm going to finish the video there. There were 8 sort of topics that I see come up a lot. I just want to start this ball rolling because these are the things that I think you guys are asking, and I think you guys want to know about. But obviously, if these aren't the topics you want to know about, if you want to know about different topics, or if I haven't fully answered the questions, or if there are other things you want to know about, please, please, please write them in the comments below. I'm more than happy to make more videos like this and help you figure that stuff out. But at least we got the ball rolling today. So thanks for listening. Get those comments in the comments below. And yeah, see you in the next one.